Moments away from the opening kick. Let's check in with Jenny Dell downstairs.
Well, Ian, these two teams are playing for the Texas Governor's Cup, which dates back to 1967 and the Houston Oilers. Now, the Texans and the Cowboys have only faced each other 4 times. Texans opening up their franchise back in 2002 with a win over the Cowboys. But these players, they know the importance of this game. This is not just a win, but it's bragging rights in Texas. The owners are friends, and as J.J. Watt said, Texas is football country. They're hoping that they can use the pride and environment in this stadium right here to their advantage. Ryan?
All right, Jenny, we're underway. Houston has won the toss and will receive with Danielle Manning taking a knee off the kick from Bailey. Texans will have it at the 20-yard line to open things up here at AT&T Stadium. Ryan Fitzpatrick, no interceptions in the first 2 games. He has thrown 5 in the last 2. The Texans are 3-1.
And when I asked him yesterday who stood out on the Dallas defense, he hesitated before saying nobody really. And that is a compliment because the Cowboy defense plays so well together. The key, of course, will be getting the Texan running game going today with a now healthy Arian Foster.
Only 37 rushing yards last week on 23 carries, a 23-17 win over Buffalo. 1st and 10 from the 20. Foster is in there. And a flag to open things up. We'll hear from Pete Morelli, our referee, early.
False start. Number 87 offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
C.J. Fedorowicz, the rookie tight end for Bill O'Brien, called on the penalty, so back it up on 1st down on the first play from scrimmage.
Just a little tiny flinch by the rookie, but big mistake on 1st down.
52% of their plays have been running plays. That's number 2 in the NFL behind Cincinnati, who leads it at 54%. Foster, no gain on the play. Brandon Carr, first man there. Let's take a look at the starting offense for Houston. Chris Myers, his 101st consecutive start as a Texan, 117th overall, one of the leaders on the team. And Andre Johnson, a little bit of a question mark this week because of an ankle injury, but Johnson is in there for the full complement of weapons for Ryan Fitzpatrick. 2nd and 15, spread it out for Fitzpatrick. Underneath, he gets Hopkins involved for a modest gain. 4.5 yards on the play. Justin Durant over there defensively. Defensively for Dallas. Henry Melton, he is not 100%. Melton's been dealing with a hamstring issue. Linebackers, Anthony Hitchens will get an opportunity because of the injury to Bruce Carter. Carter sitting this one out with a thigh injury. And in the secondary, Brandon Carr, signed as a free agent in 2012, given big money, 5 years, $50 million deal when it came over from Kansas City. 3rd and 10 for the Texans. Look out. Fitzpatrick throws the ball as he was going down. J.J. Wilcox putting the pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the Texans go 3 and out.
Well, Wilcox is on a nickel blitz here, and it's a J.J., not Watt, but Wilcox, who goes all the way around the corner and will bring down Fitzpatrick. Good job by Fitzpatrick getting rid of this ball at the last instant, but that penalty on 1st down on Fedorowicz really cost the Texans dearly.
Bill O'Brien said that Shane Leckler, the punter, has been a huge weapon for the team. He's one of the leaders of the Texans. Deep punt handled by Harris, the return man. Harris looking to get to the outside. Spin move by Harris. And gang tackled as he crossed the 35. 18-yard return, a 61-yard punt. Jeff Tarpinian makes the play on special teams. And Tony Romo, last week against New Orleans in that 38-17 win, threw for 3 touchdowns. Penalty on that return. It's going to work against Dallas. So back it up. There's going to be solid field position to open up for the Cowboys offense.
I asked Tony Romo yesterday about what's the big challenge for the Cowboys today, and without hesitation, he said blocking the Texans' pass rush led by J.J. Watt. The Romo's confident in his O-line and the game plan that will feature the now normal league-leading rushing attack.
Everything is working in unison right now for Dallas on offense. That run game and pass game synchronized, and they're executing at a high level. How do they handle J.J. Watt? Double tight end set to open up with Witten and Hanna. And they back it up just shy of the 10-yard line. Jason Garrett looking for an explanation. Romo on a give. Murray, early contact, and that first wave led by J.J. Watt for no gain on the play. Offensively, for Dallas, Tyron Smith, he was taken 2 picks ahead of J.J. Watt in the 2011 draft, and he is a star on the left side of the line. Another star, Des Bryant, came out of that 2010 draft, the number 24 pick, and one of the premier wide receivers in football. 2nd and 10 for the Cowboys. Romo out of the gun. Offensive line holds up. Juggle and a drop by Bryant. It is ruled incomplete.
Yeah, good call by the officials. About 3 of them saw the juggle and then the hit that confirmed that this ball is going to be incomplete. It's going to be a good battle to watch all day long. Des Bryant going against another JJ, Jonathan Joseph.
Got a lot of JJs here.
Well, Jerry Jones, this is his world, right?
Dynamite.
JJ Walker.
Get Jimmy Walker a mention early. 3rd down conversions this season. Houston's defense ranked number 1. The Dallas offense ranked number 2. Devin Street now on the field for Dallas on a 3rd and 10. Split formation. Romo out of the pocket, trying to dump it off. Incomplete. Murray the intended target. And both teams go 3 and out on their first possessions.
Yeah, little jitters here for both clubs. We had the offsides on Fedorowicz on 1st down, and then a pair of drop passes now. That screen pass had a chance to get some good yardage as the Cowboy offensive line was out in front of Murray, but he couldn't pull it in.
Keyshawn Martin is the return man. Chris Jones will punt it. Division II product out of Carson Newman. Houston should have excellent field position. Martin, fair catch. And it's brought in just across the 40-yard line after the 49-yard punt. Fitzpatrick and the Texans offense back on the field trying to get something going. When we return. Back in Arlington, no score. The Texans and the Cowboys. The first 2 weeks of the season, Arian Foster went over 100 yards rushing. Since that point, because of the injury, Houston has asked Ryan Fitzpatrick to do more in weeks 3 and 4. 1st and 10, just short of the 41. Fitzpatrick throwing. He connects with Ryan Griffin. Forward progress out near midfield. It's an 8-yard pickup.
Now you can see the difference between weeks 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 for Fitzpatrick, but you mentioned the fact that Foster was out for weeks 3 and played barely in week 4, so obviously that's a big problem for this Texan offense.
He is completing 65% of his passes so far this season. That would be a career best for Fitzpatrick, who's now in his 10th year in the league. 2nd and 2, 5 receivers set. Rush coming, Fitzpatrick, double pump, incomplete. Looking for Johnson over the middle, and Rolando McClain, the former Raider, putting the heat on Fitzpatrick.
Well, McClain coming up the middle here. He's a big linebacker, almost 265 pounds at 6'4". But how about the job Jeremy Mincy did, dropping off from his defensive end spot to take Andre Johnson over the middle? That's a mismatch the Texans might want to revisit at some point.
3rd and 2. We're still waiting for the first down of this opening quarter. Fitzpatrick fires. Tight window. He's got Johnson for a first down, 11 yards into Dallas territory in a matchup with Carr.
950 catches now for Andre Johnson in his career. This is what Fitzpatrick does extremely well. Throw the inside slant routes. And really, you got to give it to Brandon Carr. He couldn't be any closer to knocking that ball away. But the big body of Andre Johnson kept him away from the ball.
So a new set of downs for Houston to work with at the 40 of Dallas. Once again out of the gun, Fitzpatrick, out route, intercepted, kicked off by Skandrick. Out of bounds along the sideline. But Houston turns it over early.
Yeah, miscommunication with the quarterback, Fitzpatrick, and Arian Foster on the outside. Foster's going to go right down the field. Look at Scandrick playing zone, reading the quarterback's eyes, breaks on the ball, and it's a huge turnover for the Cowboys here in the first quarter.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. Fantastic shots at AT&T Stadium as we welcome you back inside. Dallas and Houston, no score. The Texans turn it over on an interception by Scandrick. Here's Murray cutting it to the outside for 5.
Let's go back to the interception. Here's Scandrick and here's Arian Foster. Scandrick has no help deep, so he's really taking a gamble here. If this is read properly, that's a walk-in touchdown for Foster, but obviously the maybe lack of practice time between the two because of the hamstring problems with Foster may have led to that interception, but that's at least a 7-point play made by Scandrick.
That could have been a touchdown for Scandrick if he stays in bounds.
Or make it a 14-point play then.
Like my math? I'm just adding numbers to this equation. No score between Houston and Dallas. Houston, the only team that has not given up points in a first quarter this season. Romo on the out route to Beasley. Out of bounds for 4. Jonathan Joseph over there. Defensively for Houston, they picked up the veteran Ryan Pickett. J.J. Watt telling us he's fit in perfectly with this defense. Linebackers, Brian Cushing leads the team in tackles back from another major knee surgery. And in the secondary, Jonathan Joseph once again playing at a very high level. They signed him to the big contract in 2011. He's been worth every penny. Murray and Klutz in the backfield on a 3rd and 1. Murray bulldozing for a first down. Needed a yard, ends up getting 5 with that strong effort knifing through the line.
Well, it's a combination of determination but also smarts. He was stuffed at the line of scrimmage trying to get in behind Klutz, but kept his legs going, bounced to the right side, and found just enough to pick up the first down.
He's on pace for a big year yardage-wise. He's also on pace for a lot of carries, 396, which would be a franchise record. Give it to Murray again. Murray trying to veer to the outside. Pickett there to greet him. NFL Today update. Let's head to New York. JB and Boomer.
Boomer beginning to be an Eagles habit. They're at it again this week. Here comes James Casey. He's going to block the punt of Johnny Hecker. And Chris Maragos is going to pick it up, a 10-yard touchdown return for the Eagles 2 weeks in a row. The way they start the game, tremendous on special teams.
Ian, Dan, and Jenny.
Yeah, they set the tone against San Francisco, but couldn't finish the deal last week, suffering their first loss against the 49ers. Play action. Romo looking for an adjustment, coming back for the football. He's got his man, Harris. Kareem Jackson, the defender there, 18 yards. And Tony Romo.
This is just a great job after the play fake, telling his receiver what he wants him to do. The coverage by Kareem Jackson was really good. If Romo throws the deep ball, it's probably going to be incomplete, but he waves him back towards the line of scrimmage and throws him a perfect pass. Great communication on the fly.
And improvisation from Romo.
He's always had that talent, hasn't he?
1st and 10 inside the 35 of Houston. We'll approach the 8-minute mark of this first quarter. Here's Murray. Juke move by Murray. Carries inside the 30 for 5. Good block from Zach Martin, one of those young offensive linemen for Dallas. And this was a conscious effort, Dan, by this organization to really address the O-line, and they felt that that would be the foundation. There would be a trickle-down effect. It's working.
Well, it's working, and it may extend Tony Romo's career another 5 years because he's playing behind a line that is young and talented. 3 first-round draft picks in the last 4 years for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys.
They're the 4th youngest team overall in the NFL behind St. Louis, Jacksonville, and Kansas City. They're even younger on that O-line.
And they're going off balance here on the left side.
Play action. 2nd and 5. Look out. Brian Cushing gets to the quarterback. Romo takes the sack. Loss of 8 on the play.
Well, Cushing is going to defeat the block of DeMarco Murray. Watch 56 coming in here. He just sheds Murray and gets after Romo. Romo quickly on the ground to save any damage. First sack of the season for Brian Cushing.
And Romeo Crennel's defense. Crennel didn't coach last season. 5 Super Bowl rings in his career between the Giants and New England as an assistant. 8th play of the drive. Dallas now facing a 3rd and 13. Dime package here for Houston. Swearinger trying to make sure everybody's on the same page defensively. Rush again. Romo gets rid of it. He's got Bryant for a first down. Perfectly thrown ball by Romo.
Well, and his pocket awareness was spot on. The blitz was coming, an unblocked player here. It's Swearinger, and then around the outside he comes, but Romo steps up just about 2 yards into the pocket and will complete this 15-yarder to Bryant. How about that route, too, beating Jonathan Joseph to the outside, but that one was on Romo. And the former quarterback, Jason Garrett, can appreciate that pocket awareness.
Now in his 4th full year as the head coach of the Cowboys, became the interim head coach back in 2010. 9th play of the drive. Fake the inside handoff. They give it to Harris. Picks up 4 yards. Chopped down by Andre Howell, the rookie out of Vanderbilt for Houston.
And that's one of those plays that will take some of the load off of DeMarco Murray. A first down, little quick screen out to a wide receiver. Picks up 4 yards. Romo, perfect 4 for 4 on this drive.
In the red zone, Dallas, 14 possessions, 9 touchdowns, 4 field goals. Houston a little thin in the secondary. No A.J. Boye's out with a groin injury, and no Darryl Morris out with an ankle injury. 2nd and 6 for the Cowboys. Trying to get on the board. Murray sheds 1 tackle, weaves his way through traffic, finally brought down. A whiff from Crick initially, and then Murray turns it into a 5-yard gain. Watt was not in on that play for Houston.
You got to wonder why not. I mean, he has battled a thigh injury this week, and he's back in the game now after Crick got good penetration but couldn't bring down Murray.
AFC Defensive Player of the Month for J.J. Watt. Had 9 hits on the quarterback last week against Buffalo. 3rd and 1. Murray. A first down. Oh, he loses the ball. Murray coughs it up. Recovered by Tuggle. The second effort by Murray. And that's the one issue that Jason Garrett pointed out in regards to Murray. He said he has improved in every facet of the game except taking care of the ball.
And you wonder if his forward progress had been stopped. But you're right about the fumbling issue. That's 4 that he's fumbled this year, and he's lost all 4.
11 plays for Dallas. No points. DeMarco Murray, 4th lost fumble of the season for Murray. And Houston gets it back with a 1st and 10 from the 14. Trying to establish Arian Foster, and he picks up 2 yards going up the gut. Murray lost those 3 fumbles entering today, Dan, as you mentioned, all of them coming in the first quarter of games. And now he leads the NFL with the most lost fumbles this season.
It's pretty puzzling, too, to Jason Garrett. He says that it's in the way he holds the ball at times. He's got big hands, and he relies on his strong hands, but when there's traffic around there, it gets popped out. And Jason telling him, hey, why have people talk about it? Just quit fumbling.
Quick hitter to Hopkins. He is spun out of bounds by Carr as McClain put a shot on Fitzpatrick when he released the football. It's a 7-yard gain. We're down to 3:40 to play in this first quarter.
Hey, we're getting a look at what Rob Marinelli wants to do as defensive coordinator. He wants this big guy coming at the quarterback. That's a free shot and a real good legal shot by Rolando McClain. Did not hit Fitzpatrick in the head, did not use his helmet, used his shoulder and drilled Fitzpatrick.
Dallas comes in tied for first place in the NFC East. Houston, the leaders in the AFC South. It's a toss for Foster. Very close. And it is enough. Good spot to the 25. They'll move the chains. Anthony Hitchens got him down low.
Well, Hitchens is taking the place of Bruce Carter who's out with a quad injury. This is a great effort by Hitchens because Foster has some room if he can get by number 59. Just enough to grab that pink shoe and bring him down.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So you see the gear that the players are wearing, cleats and gloves and wristbands. They gave out pink rally towels for the fans here. Big hole, Foster. It just opened up for the three-time Pro Bowler to the tune of 14 yards. Let's go to the NFL Today update in New York. JB and Boomer.
Dan Fouts will appreciate capping a long drive.
Well, Eli Manning picking up where he last left off. And that was against the Washington Redskins a couple Thursday nights ago. His 10th touchdown pass of the season, that time to Reuben Randall. 7-0 Giants.
Iron Eagle.
They're speeding up the pace here, JB, going no huddle. Give it to Foster. And Foster takes a wallop from Barry Church, the safety. 3-yard pickup as he picked him up and tossed him down.
And one of the things that Bill O'Brien told us yesterday was that in the running game, the tight ends have to do a better job. And that time, Garrett Graham on that side of the line next to Dwayne Brown did a good job for Murray, especially on the previous play when he got that big game.
Last week, Fitzpatrick got a win against his former team, the Buffalo Bills. He told us it was really emotional for him. It meant a lot to him. Had that fiery pregame speech that came from the heart. 2nd and 7. Fitzpatrick running with it. Flag is thrown back at the 37-yard line.
That's going to be holding. No question about it.
Derek Newton slow to get up for Houston.
Holding. Number 60 offense. 10-yard penalty remains. 2nd down.
And it's Ben Jones, third-year guard out of Georgia, that's called on the hold.
Tyrone Crawford got inside of Ben Jones there with a real good, powerful move, and then Jones could just reach out and haul him down. Fitzpatrick doing a good job of moving in the pocket, but that was an easy call.
Houston's averaging just under 22 points per game, 340 yards per game. Both ranked 22nd overall in those two categories. Alfred Blue is now in. He's the rookie out of LSU. Fitzpatrick throwing. The ball was tipped, so it never got to Damaris Johnson cleanly. We're down to 50 seconds to play in this opening quarter.
That's another big play by Orlando Scandrick. He had an interception on the previous series of plays. This time, he gets up in the air and tips that ball, prevents a completion, and brings up a 3rd down and long. A nightmare type of situation for Fitzpatrick. Very creative blitzes by Rob Marinelli so far in this first quarter.
Cowboys lost cornerback Morris Claiborne, torn patellar tendon, left knee. He's done for the year. That was last week in the win over New Orleans. Shotgun, 3rd and 17. Arian Foster gets to the outside, but not enough for a first down. Houston will punt it.
We talked about the blocking of the tight end Graham and Dwayne Brown. Let's check him out on this play. Big hole to begin with on that side. Look at that job by Brown and Graham. And this play does not pick up the first down, but it gives the Texans a chance to really pin the Cowboys deep, especially with the talent of Shane Lechler.
Lechler to Harris. Harris ranges over, makes his move upfield. Flag is thrown as Harris is brought down short of the 30-yard line. Penalty marker back at the 15. The snapper John Weeks in on the stop.
And C.J. Spillman with the hold. So a couple of penalties on special teams play. It's made it difficult for the Cowboys to get out their own end of the field.
Happy Morelli is checking on the specifics with 22 seconds to go in this first quarter. Now the Cowboys are backing up all the way to their own end zone now.
We saw the field judge, Buddy Horton, with his hat off. That means one of the gunners stepped out of bounds.
There are 2 fouls on the play of the receiving team. Illegal block in the back. Number 37, that penalty is declined. Holding, number 59 of the receiving team. That penalty is accepted, 10 yards. First down, timeout.
So that one against Anthony Hitchens. Cowboys once again deep in their own territory. No score in the Battle of Texas. NFL on CBS from Arlington, Dallas. First two possessions, a punt, a long drive, and a fumble by Murray. Trying to get Bryant out in space, and he's met immediately by Kareem Jackson, limited to a gain of 2. And Jackson now coming off after making the stop. Andre Howell will replace him.
And they're hurting in the defensive backfield. A.J. Bowie is out, Daryl Morris out, Eddie Pleasant out, and now Jackson on the sideline.
Texans have still not given up any first quarter points this season. No score as we go to the second. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Medical staff working with Kareem Jackson, injured on that open field tackle on Des Bryant. That was the final play of the first quarter. We start the second. Swing pass that bounces to Terrence Williams. Incomplete.
Go back to the injury to Kareem Jackson. Watch his left arm here. Remember, Des Bryant is 220. Jackson about 190. And not only does he get hit, then he comes down on the left elbow as well. And he needs help immediately.
Brings up a 3rd and 8 now for Dallas. Andre Howell and Albert Mack, the only available corners. They also have Jamal Roll signed from the practice squad. 3rd and 8. Romo throws. It's complete. Jason Witten. Albert Mack there defensively. It's a 9-yard pickup.
He has now 895 career receptions and another one for a first down. He knew exactly what he needed. Look at the job they're going to do on J.J. Watt here. A nice double team, a pass off there, and Brooks Reed just a little bit slow getting to Romo.
Witten has not been as big a factor in the passing game because they've run the ball so effectively. Murray on the spin is brought down right around the 23. Let's go to New York. NFL Today update. JB and Zoomer.
Falcons answer the Giants.
Yeah, that's how you respond to a touchdown. You hand it to your big tailback, Steven Jackson. He's going to follow his young offensive line into the end zone. Falcons tied up 7-7 on a 10-yard run by Steven Jackson.
And Fouts had a bruising running back like that, did he not? I think he did. Absolutely. Ian, Dan, and Jenny.
I think we're talking about Chuck Muncie.
I think he was about as big and bruising as you could possibly get, and was happy to have him as a team.
6 offensive linemen here for Dallas. Play action for Romo. Throwing incomplete. Bounces off the hands of Murray with Justin Tuggle there. Tight defense from the linebacker. Access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app right now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. Kareem Jackson returns for Houston, so Jackson back on the field. The Texans defense now facing a 3rd and 5. Romo is 6 out of 10 for 52 yards here in the first half. 4 receivers set. Romo out of the gun. Protection holds up. Romo, dump off. Murray, first down on the catch and run by Murray. The questions with him have been durability questions. Murray just off to a fantastic start this season. That's 10 yards on the pass play.
Well, the protection should be good. There's 2 guys rushing. 9 dropping, all into zones. And how about the block by Jason Witten, clearing the way for Murray to pick up the first down. Interesting defensive call by Romeo Crennel, rushing just 2 at Romo.
It's a contract year for DeMarco Murray. They did not agree on a deal. And he's backing it up with big numbers. Here's Murray. Veering to the outside. Murray brought down by Tuggle and Lewis. A 9-yard pickup.
You know, to watch Murray on that play there, just under control until he saw the crease in the defense. And he stepped on the gas and accelerated for that 9-yard gain.
Oh, this has been a storyline this week, though, trying to get Murray some rest and working in some other backs. Joseph Randall, second-year running back out of Oklahoma State, now in there on a 2nd and 1. He'll get the call. Nice move by Randall to sidestep one tackler and pick up the first down. It's a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be stopped in the backfield as the Texans were coming with a linebacker blitz on that side. Watch the call here this time. Here comes Cushing right through a gap here. But the quickness to jump to the outside and then realizing what he needed for the first down, he picks it up, and Watt will get another rest on the sidelines. Maybe that thigh is bothering him more than he lets on.
Ninth play of the drive for Dallas. Randall remains in there. And Randall changing directions. Brooks Reed there to greet him. It's a 2-yard gain. Cowboys are 3-1 under Jason Garrett for the first time. First time that they're 3-1 at all since 2008. That's when Wade Phillips was the head coach. They're in a stretch now of playing 5 of 6 games here at home. This is the time for Dallas to build some confidence and show that they're better than a 500 team. That's what they've been the last 3 years.
Yeah, but they got to go to Seattle next week.
Well, there was that one road game. That was in there. Romo off the spin. Romo, sidearm toss. He gets it to Witten. So avoiding the sack, loses his helmet on the play, and it turns into a 4-yard pickup. Merciless and Watt getting in the face of Romo.
Well, he's just a magician at times, looking over the entire field, gets away from Watt there, and then he gets the double shot. Watt just made Smith whiff on his block. And how about the pass to just squeeze it under the arm of Merciless to Jason Witten.
And a helmet pops off at the end of the play. Watt was actually fined by the NFL $16,547 for roughing the passer last week on 2 occasions against Manuel. A throw from Romo, high throw, Bryant looking for a flag. Jonathan Joseph holds up defensively for Houston, and the punting unit is coming on for Dallas.
Well, give this one to Jonathan Joseph. Tremendous job here, playing from off coverage, breaking on the ball. Had that right arm wrapped around Bryant. That's what Bryant is complaining about here. But that ball got to those gloves. It should have been caught regardless.
And Dan, for Dallas, second 11-play drive, and they still have no points on the board. Jones, the punt. And Sean Martin is buried at the 11th, 41-yard punt and a 2-yard return. Tony Romo, he knew this was coming throughout the day. Just trying to keep his equipment on. J.J. Watt has been Mr. Everything for this Houston defense this season, but he hasn't played every snap. Houston gets the football back, give it to Alfred Blue up the middle for 4 yards as we check in with Jenny Dell.
Well, guys, I can tell you when J.J. Watt came to the sideline, he sat down on the bench and started rubbing his right quad quite a bit. He looked to be in somewhat of some distress and some pain. They just rewrapped his left elbow, and I can say that he's taken oxygen multiple times down here. I will keep an eye on him throughout the game.
Well, right now he's checking out some pictures on that tablet along the sideline. NFL has gone high tech. 2nd and 6. Blue steamrolling for 5.
And you can see Bill O'Brien's game plan on the ground game. Everybody knows that the Texans run the stretch play about as well as anybody, but what they're doing today is they're going right at the Cowboys with just good old-fashioned lead plays with the fullback leading either Blue or Foster right up the middle.
And then they've made a change on the offensive line. Xavier Suafilo, the rookie out of UCLA, is now in. Houston, the play selection, it's been a big key throughout the season, featuring the run. They're averaging just about 5.5 yards per rush, and it is enough for a first down. Ryan Fitzpatrick taking matters into his own hands. It's a 2-yard pickup.
You know, one of the most underrated plays in football in short yardage is the quarterback sneak, especially when you have a veteran center like Chris Myers.
Did you like it?
I loved it. You know, you'd be surprised, but I scored 13 touchdowns in my NFL career. 13
rushing touchdowns.
Yes, sir, and 12 of them were on quarterback sneaks. It was a gimme.
Do we have video? Can we bring up any of these quarterback sneaks?
I have some black and white stills for you. I'll show you.
Do we have beta, maybe?
They didn't even have beta back then.
1st and 10 for Houston. Just short of the 25-yard line. Play fake. Fitzpatrick fires. Incomplete. Unfortunate. It wasn't picked off by Carr. Andre Johnson, the intended target.
This ball is thrown behind Andre Johnson. As you said, Ian, if it is caught by Carr, it may be a touchdown for Dallas, but you can see how Andre Johnson had to stop his route, reach back, and Carr with perfect coverage, but bad hands.
So 2nd and 10 now for the Texans. Fitzpatrick is 4 of 9 for 31 yards and a pick. Hopkins, the motion man for Houston. No score. Just under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Fitzpatrick, he's got Hopkins. And a flag is thrown. 5-yard pickup. Flag tossed at the 31. Houston had 8 penalties for 90 yards last week in that win over Buffalo.
And they had an offensive lineman downfield here. As Morelli's going over to Jason Garrett to explain to him the situation.
Ineligible man downfield, number 76 of the offense. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
The Pro Bowler Dwayne Brown, the guilty party. Tomorrow, see why critics are calling the new hit drama Scorpion rainy fun. Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. So back it up. 2nd and 15 now for Bill O'Brien's offense.
And here we are halfway through the second quarter. 0-0. Who would have thought this?
Dallas put up 38 points last week in a win over New Orleans. They're riding a 3-game winning streak. They never actually took the yardage off. And that's what the officials are now meeting about.
Yeah, they got these headsets now so that they wouldn't have to have these meetings.
Well, sometimes face-to-face is the best communication, Dan.
Well, apparently it's a good deal because they got together and there's the walk-off of 5 yards.
It was at the 22-yard line. Arian Foster on the sideline. They've been going with Alfred Blue, who got the start in week 3 against the Giants as Foster was inactive. Andre Johnson was in the backfield, now shifts out of there on a 2nd and 15. Fitzpatrick, quick toss. Johnson hit down low. J.J. Wilcox, physical safety with good quickness, getting over in a hurry. It's a 3-yard gain.
Pretty good play here by number 27. Watch Wilcox unblocked here, go low and take the knees out. Heads up play by Wilcox. Good recognition on that quick flanker screen.
Wilcox was a running back at Georgia Southern his first 3 years of college and then got switched to safety his senior year. Turned out to be a good switch. Drafted in the 3rd round.
And all the Cowboys right at the first down marker there. He's going to rush 3 at Fitzpatrick.
Flag thrown. And this play never gets off.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
I think Fitzpatrick saw that defense and was confused as to what to do. I mean, they were all lined up exactly where he needs to pick up the first down. Saw just 3 men that were going to rush him on the pass rush. Now it'll be interesting to see. Looks like the Cowboys are going to do the exact same thing here. Here's the down marker, and here are all the defenders.
Tough to confuse a Harvard guy. 3rd and 17. Running play going nowhere. Foster hit by Durant. And the Dallas defense has come to play.
Well, we're seeing really good coaching by both Rob Marinelli defensively for the Cowboys and Romeo Cornell. That's why we've got a 0-0 game right now. They're just dialing up creative type of defenses, blitzes, and that time a prevent defense, if you will.
Eckler on the punt again. Dwayne Harris will get an opportunity here from the 31. Harris loses the football. Houston was there. They were in the right spot. Flag down on the play. Tarpinian knocked it loose. And they're indicating it will be Texans ball. And it is.
Trying to find a crease there. Tarpinian with the right hand pulls the right bicep. Watch him just grab that arm and pull it away from the ball.
Number 53.
Second fumble for the Cowboys here.
Penalties decline. Result of the play is the first down, Houston. Timeout.
And the rookie Alfred Blue on the recovery. The Texans take over in Dallas territory. Looking to strike first on the board. Good showing here in Dallas from all the Texans fans. A lot of battle red in attendance. What's been the biggest difference between last year and this year for Houston? Takeaways. They've already matched last year's total. Fitzpatrick throwing too high. Johnson matched up with Carr. Incomplete with 5:44 to play, second quarter.
But that's worth a shot, though. Loosen up a defense, especially after a turnover in positive territory on the field. Obviously the best starting field position for the Texans. Why not go for one? That was perfect coverage by Brandon Carr as he shut out Johnson to the sideline.
85 yards of offense for Houston. Dallas only has 95. A misdirection here to Hopkins, and the Cowboys were ready. J.J. Wilcox. Aggressive.
He's stealing the limelight from J.J. Watt, isn't he? A couple of outstanding plays on wide receiver screens. He doesn't make this tackle. Hopkins has got a big gain. That's as he gets inside the block there of Dwayne Brown. Not an easy thing to do.
Rod Marinelli took over for Monty Kiffin. Kiffin remains on. Part of the coaching staff. 3rd and 8 for the Texans. 5 minutes to go, first half. Fitzpatrick. Incomplete. DeMaurice Johnson, the former Eagle, unable to secure it.
Yeah, this ball thrown just a little bit too hard by Fitzpatrick. And even if Johnson makes this catch, it's doubtful he's going to be able to pick up the first down. He was only about 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. And they needed a lot more than that.
Great field position for Houston, and they do nothing with it. Leckler the punt. Trying to pin the Cowboys deep once again. Takes a bounce inside the 5 and rolls into the end zone. 41-yard punt, but a net of 21. We remain scoreless as the Cowboys take over at their own 20. Back inside AT&T Stadium. Roof is closed here in Arlington. On a 1st and 10 for Dallas. No score. Romo throws. In stride. Terrence Williams. Big connection downfield for 28 yards. Swearinger with a stop for Houston.
Well, it's a deep crossing route by Williams. And because of the play fake, it allowed Romo to get back and get away from J.J. Watt as he is flat held on the play, tackled by Zach Martin, and Martin gets away with it.
Cowboys on the move. Romo now 9 of 14 for 94 yards. Williams' his first catch of the day. We come up on 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Murray single setback. It's Murray. Tripped up. 7-yard gain for Murray.
Well, this is what's happened with Watt so far today. That's his only tackle. Early in the game, he's going to see a lot of double teams throughout the day. He was held, and now he's delivering a message to Tony Romo. And he took his helmet off to make sure that Romo hurt him.
Combine all these numbers: sacks, interceptions, passes, defense since 2012. Watt's the leader in the NFL. 2nd and 3 for Dallas, now in Houston territory. Working from the gun. Handoff for Murray. Murray's got a first down. And dishing out a little punishment on the 6-yard gain. Key block from Martin up front. The rookie out of Notre Dame.
It really looks like the offensive line has got their mojo going here. 3 real positive plays to get the ball across midfield. Murray running hard. Martin got away with a hold on J.J. Watt, but a big play by Martin that time. So Murray can pick up the first down.
We are under 3 minutes to play now in this first half. No score. Houston and Dallas, 2 3-1 teams going head to head. Harris, the motion man, and it's Murray. Brought down from behind, down low by Muhammad. 4-yard gain for Murray.
I like that play too that was called by Scott Linehan, offensive quarterback coach. But he's the guy calling the plays, faking the jet sweep to Dwayne Harris. Harris is a dynamite runner. He's got 2 carries this year for 18 yards.
Linehan, third different play caller in as many years for Dallas. And this will be the 2-minute warning. Dallas will face a 2nd and 6. They are at the 35 of Houston. Texans and the Cowboys, it's the 4th all-time meeting. The state of Texas, football crazy. Dallas held New Orleans scoreless in the first half last week. They've done the same this week against Houston, and now the Cowboys are trying to get on the board. A 2nd and 6. Toss it to Beasley. Nice move upfield. Beasley's got a first down. And across the 30-yard line for an 8-yard catch and run. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower, scores and highlights, and a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. New set of downs for Dallas. We're down to a minute 34 to go. First half. Murray carrying defenders with him. It's a 4-yard gain. Swearinger will get credit for the stop for Houston.
Yeah, Murray's a tall back too, at 6 feet tall. I mean, he's got such a knack for going low and getting lower than the tackler as he did that time. He just pushed the guy back and picked up good yardage.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining. We've got a minute 10 left to go in the second quarter. Romo to Bryant. Bryant tried to get to the outside, unable to loop there. It's a 2-yard pickup. Joseph helping to make sure that he didn't get extra yardage. Timeout taken. We'll step aside with 1:01 to play, first half. TV's #1 comedy is Genius. Join Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on a new Big Bang Theory new night tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Previous play before the timeout, DJ Swearinger, important part of the Houston secondary, injured. They're now working on that left elbow. Danielle Manning, the veteran, checks in to replace Swearinger. They released Shiloh Kao, another safety, earlier this week. 3rd and 4. Just over a minute to go in this first half. Operating out of the gun, Romo will make a change.
Tarpinian and Cushing right in the middle here. They drop out.
Romo swings over the middle. Cole Beasley with a first down grab inside the 15. 8-yard pickup for Dallas. Kareem Jackson the stop.
Now Romo's so experienced, looking off the safeties and finding Beasley. Beasley with 2 big catches on this drive.
And Swearinger is back in for Houston. Movement. Just 2 penalties against Dallas in this first half. And it looks like this is going to be the 3rd. So Pete Morelli checking first with O'Brien.
There's really nothing to check with. If it's against the Cowboys, it's before the ball snapped.
So there is Swearinger returning for Houston. And he's a chatterbox. He's heavily involved.
Timeout. Dallas, second team timeout.
Okay, we know it's a timeout.
There's still a flag on the field on the far side.
And we had a false start on the play.
Oh, there you go.
Number 77, 5 yards. It's still first down.
And now they got to move the ball. This was an issue earlier where they neglected to do that. They eventually did. And they'll do the same here. No score. 35 seconds left first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface. the official tablet of the NFL. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at KBB.com.
Dallas took the timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff, so they had one timeout remaining. 35 seconds left to play in this first half. Romo in the pocket, throws. Drop ball by Williams. Joseph complaining there was a push-off from the young wide receiver. No flag on the play.
Now this was going to be either at the 1-yard line or Williams was going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. Perfectly thrown ball by Tony Romo. And a flat drop by Terrence Williams. Well, that's just a whip right there, right through his hands.
So 2nd and 15 now for the Cowboys, down to 30 seconds to play. Second quarter. Romo trying to get everybody organized. Romo underneath to Murray, and he's hit right away. 3-yard pickup. Kareem Jackson there for the Texans.
And a good defensive call by Romeo Crennel as the Cowboys are going to use their final timeout. But to go with just a 3-man rush, dropping 8, made it tough for Romo down the field.
And a reminder, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our crew back in New York, JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. Latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And we asked the players about playing for Romeo Crennel. Jonathan Joseph said he played for Mike Zimmer, he played for Wade Phillips, and really felt Romeo was kind of a combination of both. You'll get the fiery side occasionally like Zimmer, and then you'll get some of that mellow attitude like Wade Phillips as well.
Well, and the thing about Crennel, you talked about those 5 Super Bowl rings. I mean, the experience that he has, he's seen every type of offense you can imagine and stopped most of them.
So now keep an eye on the clock as well, because they have no timeouts remaining, 23 seconds left. If they complete the pass and they're not in the end zone, they're going to have to rush the kicking unit onto the field for a field goal try. Romo steps up. Romo directing traffic, throws, incomplete. Terrence Williams got his hands on it, but Andre Howell back there, the rookie, makes the play for Houston.
Yeah, tremendous play by Howell in the back of the end zone. Williams had a similar catch last week against the Saints, but cutting underneath is Howell. Watch that right hand get on the ball. Ball hits Williams in both gloves. Difficult catch, great coverage by Howell.
33-yard attempt for Dan Bailey. 29 straight field goals for Bailey. And make it 30 in a row. Dallas puts 3 on the board. 11 seconds left to play. First half in Arlington. 12 plays, 65 yards for the Cowboys. It ends on a Dan Bailey 33-yard field goal. Bailey now kicking it off. Manning, the deep man. This one will roll and then curl towards the sideline. Out of bounds. Houston will have it at the 20-yard line. Last week against Buffalo, first 5 drives, Houston had 81 yards. Not much better here today. 87 yards. Texans did win the game against the Bills 23-17.
Yeah, but it took that 80-yard interception return by J.J. Watt to turn the tide in that one.
Also had an interception to clinch it. Darryl Morris with 1:07 left picked off E.J. Manuel. So that'll do it for this first half. A 3-0 lead for the Dallas Cowboys. 2 teams that are 3-1, leading their respective divisions. And the battle of the Lone Star State has been quiet offensively. As we send it downstairs to Jenny Dell.
Coach, are you surprised that you haven't been able to score any points generating that much offense?
It's ridiculous. We need to play better on offense. Our defense is playing well. We got to find a way to move the ball, and we're hurting ourselves with penalties and turnovers. We got to do better than that.
Good luck in there.
All right, Jenny, very honest and direct. Bill O'Brien. The Houston Texans trailing the Dallas Cowboys 3-0. We'll come back to Verizon Halftime Report. after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Harris loses the football. It will be Texans ball. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter here in Arlington. 3-0 lead for the Cowboys over the Texans. Moments ago, Jenny Dell caught up with Dallas head coach Jason Garrett.
Coach, what words did you use to motivate this team at the half?
Well, we just have to keep banging away. We've done some good things in all three phases. Got to take care of the ball better on offense when we get down in that red zone, and it's one play at a time. That's what we got to do.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
All right, back here in the broadcast booth, Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. If you're Dallas, only 3 points on the board, but can Garrett and the coaching staff feel encouraged that they had long drives and at some point they'll be able to bust through against this Houston D?
Yeah, this is a pitcher's duel, but the pitchers aren't doing it. It's
right.
The defense that's doing it on both sides. But yeah, Dallas gets the ball to start the second half. That's huge because they had a lot of momentum at the end of the first half. But the defense of the Texans, keeping them out of the end zone, absolutely huge.
And that's been a huge key for Houston this season. In the Texans' 3 wins, they have forced 2 or more turnovers in each of those games. They've already forced 2 against Dallas here today. Cowboys will have the football first. Bullock on the kickoff, and it's over the head of Harris. Cowboys will have it at the 20-yard line. First half numbers, 165 total yards for the Cowboys. Houston held to 86. Time of possession in favor of Dallas as well. And they've got a 3-0 lead as we start this third quarter.
And 2 takeaways for the Texans has been big for them in the first half as their defense has been tested, and they've been up to it.
First and 10 Cowboys from Dallas 20-yard line.
Cowboys have it with a first and 10 at the 20. DeMarco Murray brings Crick with him and picks up 3.5 yards on the play. Well, for Jason Garrett, last week against New Orleans, exploded in the first half, 290 yards. They had a 24-0 lead, ended up winning that game 38-17.
There was that period in that game when Drew Brees started to get hot and made a lot of people nervous there as he got the Saints in the end zone a couple of times, but the Cowboys were able to recover.
So now a 2nd and 7 for Dallas. Romo working out of the gun. Throws to Des Bryant. And Bryant tackled quickly. So it brings up 3rd down now for the Cowboys. I go back to 2009, last time they made the playoffs. And Dan, I was just looking through the roster. Not a lot of guys left from that team. You've got Romo, Witten, Spencer, Skandrick, and Freed. That's it.
The turnover, the emphasis on drafting offensive linemen is going to really bode well for the Cowboys.
This is a 3rd and 3 now. Romo swings it to Beasley, and he's right at the marker. Andre Howell riding him towards the sideline. And a 3-yard pickup for the Cowboys.
And linesman Dana McKenzie right on the call here. He's going to say that Beasley was down just as he crosses the 30-yard line. That's going to be good enough for a first down.
First down, Cowboys.
Beasley, a productive slot receiver for this Dallas team out of SMU. He was a high school quarterback. Little Elm, Texas. 11 first downs now for the Cowboys. Mixing in the run from Murray. Cushion leading that charge for Houston and forces him out of bounds after the gain of 5.
That's 15 carries now for Murray in the ballgame for 62 yards. That one fumble, though, was absolutely critical 4 times now. But this type of company that he's attempting to keep is awesome. A couple of Hall of Famers there.
Talked to Romo about Murray. He said health has really always been the key with him. But pairing him with this offensive line has been the difference. It's the ultimate team sport, and it's paying off for Dallas. Williams, intended receiver, offline. Romo thought he was coming all the way towards the perimeter, and Williams kept going upfield. Those two exchanging some words, making sure that they're together on the game plan.
It's not been the best of afternoon so far for Terrence Williams. dropped one ball right at the goal line at the end of the first half, and then had one go through his hands in the back of the end zone.
So now a 3rd and 5. Romo has been effective on 3rd downs, 5 of 8. Just underway in the second half. Dallas leading Houston 3-0. From the gun, pump and throw. Romo, deep ball, too far for Dez Bryant. Stride for stride, Jonathan Joseph with him. And this Dallas drive stalls.
Let's check out the battle between Bryant and Jonathan Joseph. Joseph gets away with one there. The officials in the preseason would have had 4 flags thrown with that little bit of contact.
Keyshawn Martin is deep for Houston. Chris Jones will punt it for Dallas. High kick, sailing to the 15. Returnable for Martin. Works the sideline. And comes up just short of the 30-yard line as Jeff Heath makes the play on special teams. 50-yard punt. Houston with a football for the first time in the second half. It was not a half to remember on offense for Houston. 4 first downs. They punted 4 times, 4 penalties. And they'll try to change their fortune here in the second half. 86 total yards in that first half for the Texans. Arian Foster trying to get him going. 5-yard pickup brought down by Carr. Well, first team to call themselves the Texans were in 1952. The Dallas Texans, a member of the NFL's National Conference. That team went 1-11. This is video from their lone win. It came against the Chicago Bears. The team folded after just the 1 year. The Texans were established again in 1960, but it was a different franchise, a member of the American Football League, and 3 years later they moved to Kansas City, became the Chiefs under Lamar Hunt. You get it? Or are you confused?
That's pretty confusing, isn't it? Is there a World Football League team named the Texans too?
Oh, now you're digging deep. Arian Foster spun down by Rolando McClain. That's a 2-yard pickup.
Now, number 55 is Rolando McClain. Uses his speed there to get by Ben Jones, and then delivers a message to Arian Foster. Really a significant 3rd down situation now for the Texans.
3rd and 3 for Houston. Fitzpatrick is 6 of 13 for just 36 yards and a pick. Sets and throws. It's complete to Hopkins. First down for DeAndre Hopkins. Out across the 45-yard line.
Now, the protection is perfect for Fitzpatrick because he can stare down his receiver Hopkins. It's man-to-man coverage, so it's okay to stare down your receiver in that type of situation. Look at the offensive line giving him a clean pocket. Nobody within 2 yards for that 12-yard gain.
4 catches, 26 yards for Hopkins. Give it to Foster. Brought down by his ankles by McClain. McClain first caught Jason Garrett's attention when he did a clinic for Nick Saban. He coached under Saban in Miami for 2 years. He did a clinic for him at Alabama, and McClain really stood out to Garrett. So he kept an eye on him. He was impressed with him from afar, and then when things went south with Oakland, opportunity came up. He was in Baltimore. They made a deal, and now McClain's a member of the Dallas Cowboys. 2nd and 6. For Houston. 3-0 lead for Dallas. We're down to 9:38 to play in this 3rd quarter. Foster, look at the room. Arian Foster! Big run by Foster. J.J. Wilcox brings him down. It's a 33-yard rip for Foster.
Well, the key is the tight end block here by Fedorowicz, getting to the edge and letting Foster do the rest. Fedorowicz with a key block there on Justin Durant, all the way to the 15 for Foster.
Halftime interview with Jenny Dell. Bill O'Brien not happy with his offensive production. He's the man calling the plays. It's gotten better here in the 3rd. Foster accelerates to the end zone. Touchdown, Texans. He fakes out Barry Church. Houston takes the lead here in the third.
Well, they're running behind their all-pro left tackle, Dwayne Brown, working with the tight end in unison, Fedorowicz. Jack Crawford pinned to the inside, and there goes Barry Church. Pick up your laundry, Barry, because Foster has taken it all the way.
Foster now with 99 yards on the ground, a touchdown on 12 carries. The Texans move down the field with ease against this Dallas D. First possession of the third quarter for Houston as Bullock tacks on the extra point. Arian Foster, 59 yards on the drive, and pay dirt in Dallas.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
Arian Foster has given Houston a 7-3 lead against the Dallas Cowboys. 8:49 to play in the third. Randy Bullock kicking it off. Harris, the deep man, is going to take it out. 8 yards deep in the end zone. Bang down as he crossed the 20-yard line. And that's where the Cowboys will open up Tarpinian, the special teams tackle. Cowboys now down against Houston. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is the 6th year of the campaign. Nearly every item visible on the field will be auctioned off. The NFL donates 100% of the proceeds it receives from the sale of pink merchandise and items. To date, they've raised almost $7 million for the American Cancer Society. Cowboys on offense. Throw it to DeMarco Murray, who picks up 5 as we send it to Jenny Dell.
Well, Ian, this month means something really special to Brandon Carr. On July 30th of this year, his mother, Kathy, passed away after an 8-year battle with breast cancer. She was just 59 years old. He spent most of training camp by his mother's side and said it really put life into perspective and got him closer with his father, John, who is actually in attendance here today. His father was originally going to leave on Thursday, and he said, you know what, Dad, I need you to be here. So along with the cleats and the gloves and the scarf and everything that he's wearing pink, he also wears a silver bracelet that belonged to his mother, Kathy, on his wrist every day, and he said it brings him closer to her every single day he's here.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. There's a player down for the Houston Texans, and it's Jonathan Joseph, the Pro Bowler. They will get him upright, working on his back. Andre Howell, the rookie, has already come onto the field to replace Joseph.
Yeah,
and he's up on his feet.
Brian Cushing came from the inside to hit Murray, and the combination of Murray's body and Cushing's impetus has injured Joseph. And he can jog off the field holding his right side.
So Howell getting another opportunity here. We told you about the injuries to Boyer and Morris. That has pushed Howell into extended duty. 2nd and 5 for Dallas. We approach 8 minutes to go in the third. Murray, the vision. Murray brought down from behind by Swearinger. 4-yard gain, a penalty marker on the play. Thrown at the 30-yard line.
Holding. Number 72, offense. 10-yard penalty remains. 2nd down.
And that's Travis Frederick, who knows J.J. Watt very well. They played together at Wisconsin. Spent a couple of years together with the Badgers.
Yeah, number 72, he's got a pretty good hold on Poe right there. I just wonder how long it'll be before Romo goes after Howell and some of these corners, because Kareem Jackson was injured earlier and safety DJ Swearinger. They're both back in there, but they're not 100%.
Right now, Howell is matched up with Terrence Williams on a 2nd and 15 for Dallas. Handle the rush. Romo. He's got Witten. Rainbow delivery to Witten over the head of Elbert Mack. He drops it in the bucket for 34 yards.
Well, Romo saw that Mack had his back to him, So that means for Romo, there's no coverage there. As long as the defensive back is running with his back to the quarterback, it's an easy throw. How about this job by Leary, keeping Watt at the line of scrimmage? And that's not one of the first-round picks. That's a free agent from Memphis, Ronald Leary, doing the job.
Jason Witten has become the third tight end in NFL history with over 10,000 receiving yards. What a run it's been for Witten now in his 12th year. Give it to Murray. Zigzags his way out across the 45-yard line of Houston. Good block from Leary on that left side. 6-yard pickup for Murray.
It's just remarkable to watch the relationship between quarterback and tight end. Romo and Witten, 12 years together now. They have a sixth sense about the passing game.
Well, Witten said, yeah, we came in the same year. We literally came in on the same shuttle bus to training camp. 12 years flies by, and there's a bond that's bigger than football, according to Witten. It's a brotherhood.
Well, rookies today, they ride in the same limo.
Different salary structure. Romo, spin, throw, end zone, caught! Terrence Williams, touchdown Cowboys! Tony Romo digging into the bag of tricks, 43 yards.
And part of the bag of tricks was just pulling away from the most dominant defensive player in the first quarter of the season. Watch J.J. Watt. He's got a clear shot on Romo. Yeah, I wonder about that left arm, though. He didn't have the strength to wrap up Romo. And how about Romo sticking with the play? Williams hangs with the ball. The defensive back falls down. Kendrick Lewis. And Williams makes up for earlier drops with a huge play.
The deep ball from Romo is down on the ground. And raises that right arm in celebration of the touchdown. They victimize Houston on a bomb. 10-7. Dallas.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by all the Old Spice products, which you should use all over your body. And by Universal Pictures' Dracula Untold, in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife here in North Texas, AT&T Stadium. 3 points scored in the first half. And now in this third quarter, an explosion. 2 touchdowns, one from Houston, one from Dallas. Terrence Williams already with 5 touchdowns this season, matching his total from his rookie year. Second-year wideout from Baylor. Big playability, and he comes through for Tony Romo, avoiding the sack of J.J. Watt and keeping the play alive.
8 touchdown passes on the year now for Romo. 5 to Williams, 3 to his other wideout, Des Bryant.
Dan Bailey will now kick it off. The Cowboys back in front by 3. Danielle Manning, the return man. He'll take a knee, and Texans will have it at the 20-yard line.
Well, you just don't see this very often. J.J. Watt getting behind Tyron Smith and whiffing on the tackle of Romo. Romo saw him coming out of the peripheral vision, but now he looks down the field and he thinks he's got a shot here for Terrence Williams. Williams is going to be picked up by the safety Kendrick Lewis, but at right about the goal line, watch their feet. A little bit of a trip right there. Lewis bites the dust, and Williams scores.
So Houston has the ball with a 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line. 6:08 to go in the third. Now trailing by 3. Fitzpatrick going to give for Foster. Foster brought down behind the line by Tyrone Crawford. Third-year defensive lineman out of Boise State.
You know, I know you want to mix up your runs right, left, whatever, but they've been killing the Cowboys running it left behind Dwayne Brown. They come out on first down, try to run it right, they lose a couple yards. All Foster did on the previous drive was carry 5 of the 6 plays for 59 of the 71 total yards.
Last meeting against the Dallas Cowboys, Foster went for 106 yards rushing. He's now down to 98 after the loss on first down. Give it to him again. Foster, second level. Arian Foster with a flag down. Working that sideline.
Holding. Number 79 offense. 10-yard penalty. And second down.
And it's Brandon Brooks negating an 18-yard run from Foster.
Now here's Brandon Brooks right here. They're going to run a draw play to Foster on second down and 12. Watch that right hand go out there, and that's an easy call. Again, it's the officials looking for the point of attack and how the blocking is executed there. And Brooks had to reach out with his right arm and hold Nick Hayden.
And now Alfred Blue is in for Foster. Foster on the Houston sideline. 5:05 and counting left in the third. It's now a 2nd and 21. Texans are deep in their own territory. Give it to Blue. Bounces off of first contact, but then the Cowboys swarm. Justin Durant, part of that group of Dallas defenders, give him a gain of 1 on the play.
You can almost anticipate that type of call with that type of yardage and the momentum swinging in the favor of the Cowboys after that long touchdown pass. And now the penalty backs the Texans up, and they're facing a very difficult third down now.
Third and 20 for the Texans. Quick hitter, Johnson. Across the 20, but well short of a first down. Houston will punt it after the 14-yard gain. Henry Melton among those there, chasing him down with Barry Church.
Hindsight would tell you that would have been a better play on second down than the draw play to Alfred Blue.
Andre Johnson now in 11th place all-time passing Hall of Famer Andre Reed. Next up on the list, Randy Moss. Career receptions. Leckler with a boot. Room to work for Harris. Driven down at the 39-yard line by Tarkanian. 50-yard punt. Dallas has the football back with a 3-point lead in the third. Today with NFL Now, watch a free preview of the ultimate video highlights experience on your phone, tablet, or desktop. Don't miss a big play from your fantasy team or favorite players. Start watching free today at NFL.com/now. And a handoff, Murray driving up the gut across the 45. Another strong block from Martin. He's been impressive, the rookie out of Notre Dame. 8-yard gain for Murray.
I think Murray heard you say /now, because that's what he did on that play. He's the prototypical put your foot in the ground, get downhill quickly. And with good blocks like that from Martin, easy to do.
2nd and 2. Murray, 17 carries, 77 yards. Came into this game on pace to go over 2,100 on the season, just a quarter of the way through. Murray! He emerged from what appeared to be a modest gain. And Murray able to turn it into a 10-yard pickup.
But watch as he hits in here and then will work his way to the outside. It's a draw play with Witten pulling. How about the job that Jason Witten has done this season, helping Murray get all those yards blocking.
DeMarco Murray, most 10-plus yard gains in the NFL this season. Out of the gun, they'll give it to Murray again. Not much there for Murray. 1.5-yard gain. NFL Today update. Let's go to JB and Boomer.
Tony Gonzalez sang the praises of this guy.
He did. Anton Smith doing his best imitation of Lionel Little Train James there, Danny Fouts. He's going to go 74 yards after a missed tackle by Antrell Roll. Where are the rest of the Giant defenders? Nowhere to be found. Falcons take a 10-point lead, 20-10 over the Giants.
Fouts appreciates those dust-offs. Ian and Dan and Jenny.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Romo throwing underneath to Des Bryant. He breaks a tackle, and he's out of bounds. Out near the 30-yard line, Jonathan Joseph taking another shot from the physical Des Bryant. That's 11 yards through the air.
There's just determination here by both players. Joseph wraps him up. And remember, Des Bryant has about 30 pounds on him. You know, Boomer Esiason remembered Little Train James because we played against Boomer's Cincinnati Bengals, and Little Train James just killed the Bengals with about 300 yards of total offense and return yardage.
I'm waiting for them to mention Rolf Benerschka somehow. They're just going with the former Chargers. Louis Coucher. Swearinger reading it perfectly. And like a silo getting down low against Murray. Loss of 1.
Yeah, the other thing, he hits his legs really hard. There are very few pads down there. Murray's lucky he had both feet off the ground, absorbing that big hit from Swearinger.
Second and 11 here for the Cowboys. We're down to 38 seconds to play in the third. Cowboys leading the Texans 10-7. Romo on time for Witten. Brought down to the 20-yard line. Another catch for Witten. That one covers 12 yards.
But even more impressive than just the catch is the awareness of where the first down marker is. You see a lot of players make that catch, try to juke a couple of defenders and go around them. Witten split the tacklers and got to the 20-yard line for the first down.
Watt is on the sideline once again for Houston. And Witten is now 2 catches away from 900 for his career. That's the end of the third with the Cowboys in front of the Texans 10-7. We'll come back to Dallas after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the fourth quarter, a look at the statistical leaders here at AT&T Stadium. Arian Foster with 98 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Murray inching closer to 100. Williams with a big touchdown grab. Johnson has been held in check along with Hopkins for Houston. Dallas on the move once again. Murray goes down quickly. J.J. Watt, the penetration getting to the running back.
Well, this time, Jason Witten can't control J.J. Watt there. Watt obviously playing in some discomfort. Missed a lot of practice time this week with a thigh injury, but still has that quickness. He has been spelled quite a bit today by Romeo Crennel on that play.
Lance Dunbar checks in to replace Murray, but he sets up in the slot as a receiver. Second and 10, just underway in the fourth. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, Jenny Bell, the rest of our CBS crew. Shotgun, Romo throws, intercepted, picked off by Kendrick Lewis. Texans force another turnover. And an empty possession for the Cowboys.
A great field position is wasted by the Cowboys after the Watt tackle. Now Romo goes back, misreads the coverage here, does not see Kendrick Lewis, the safety coming from center field to take away that pass to Des Bryant. First pick of the year for Lewis. Great reaction, getting the ball at its highest point.
Signed as a free agent from Kansas City, Kendrick Lewis steps in front for the pass intended for Des Bryant, and the Texans have it first and 10 at their own 8-yard line. 2 or more takeaways in all 3 wins this season for Houston. They've got 3 takeaways here today against the Cowboys. 10-7, Dallas in front. Up the middle of Foster. Getting forward progress to the 10. That's a 2-yard pickup. Justin Durant, first man there for the Cowboys.
Right. Arian Foster just looks like a different player than he looked last week when he just had 6 yards rushing. So far today, he's right at the 100-yard mark, but his explosiveness out of the stance and getting the line of scrimmage quickly has been impressive.
We met with Foster yesterday, and for the first time in my 17 years at CBS, in our player meetings, we sat down with a player and his mom, Bernadette Sizemore. On a handoff, it's Foster. Nothing there. He picks up a yard and a half on the play. Tyrone Crawford there defensively. And his mom said that Arian was a handful as a kid.
Well, he's a bit of a contrarian.
A little bit.
And will challenge you every step of the way. But I thought it was more interesting the fact that she knew a little bit about, well, she got really bad seats. She's somewhere in here. But she had a hamstring injury, and she still runs every day. and that, come on, Arian, suck it up. I run, you should be able to run.
You don't think it's hereditary, do you?
Yeah, well, could be.
3rd and 6.
He's got to get better seats, though.
Fitzpatrick underneath. Graham, can he get to the marker? No. Comes up short, just across the 15. Rolando McClain helped make sure of it. And Houston will punt deep in his own territory.
And McClain's had a whale of a game. Number 55 in pass coverage. Look how quickly he recognizes the play, closes on Graham, and takes him down by the ankles.
Garrett has really been impressed with McClain's instincts and smarts. He picked up the playbook very quickly. Shane Leckler the punt. Harris backpedaling. That one nearly hit the big screen. Harris to the outside. Down the sideline. Harris gets brought down from behind with a flag. Alfred Blue, the running back, with a special team stop.
Well, they may call Blue for a horse collar tackle. I'm not sure I agree with that. Yeah, I think Leckler may have outkicked his coverage here.
53-yard punt, a 39-yard return.
It did not look like he grabbed the inside of the shoulder pads. He did hit the face mask, but did not grab it.
Officials still having a conference.
This was not a horse collar tackle. It looked like a clean tackle by Alfred Blue to me. There's some discussion.
This is the hesitation microphone of Morelli.
There's no foul on the play for a horse collar tackle. First down.
And Dan, your instincts were correct.
Well, there's the face mask being hit, but not grabbed. There's the shoulder being grabbed, but not inside the shoulder pad. Good job by the officials getting together and figuring that one out, no matter how long it took.
So, Tony Romo and the Cowboys still take over with excellent field position at the Houston 30. Romo just threw an interception. Kendrick Lewis for Houston. But another opportunity for the Cowboys offense, leading this game 10-7 with an even 12 minutes to play. Two tight ends in this formation, Witten and Hannah. Witten, the motion man. Running play, Murray. DeMarco Murray. Cutting it to the outside. Murray is hit inside the 15. It's a 17-yard gain. Frederick and Free creating space.
Yeah, Free working on J.J. Watt. Little double team there with Martin. And Murray gets to the second level in a hurry. That's a real positive momentum-building play on first down after the good punt return.
He is over 100 yards on the day. 22 for 104. Red zone offense, 2 possessions. They've had to settle for 1 field goal. Murray, stutter step. Dropped inside the 10. 6-yard pickup for Murray. Justin Tuggle in on that hit.
Yeah, curious play selection, but that's what Cowboy fans are used to this year. After the interception, Scott Linehan keeps the ball on the ground, and they feed DeMarco Murray. That hole was so big, I think it surprised Murray at first. He kind of hesitated before he hit it.
Sets up a 2nd and 4 here for the Cowboys. Rushing yards are nearly even. Harris goes in motion. Murray. He's inside the 5, and it's enough for a first down. Watt and Muhammad collaborate.
Well, it's the left side of the line this time with Smith and Leary. Good block by Harris as well. And they're running the ball at J.J. Watt with a double team. Good combination block there between Smith and Witten.
Cowboys looking to add to their lead. 1st and goal for Dallas. Romo to throw it. Got his man. Back shoulder throw to Bryant for the Cowboys touchdown.
Well, Hal claiming that Bryant pushed off. We'll take a look at it. Not really. He had both hands on him, but he never really extended his arms to where he might draw a flag for the push-off. That was just perfect timing between quarterback and wide receiver. Romo has his second touchdown pass in the second half.
4 plays, 30 yards, set up by the 39-yard punt return by Dwayne Harris. And Dan Bailey on for the point after. 17-7. Dallas in front. Des Bryant has got the size, and he certainly had the advantage. Tony Romo knew it all the way. Well, for Houston and Indianapolis, since 2002, numbers very much in favor of Indy. That was Peyton Manning who dominated that series for so many years. But Houston won a couple of division titles back-to-back. And the Colts have been one of the most consistent franchises in the NFL over the last 12-plus seasons.
And I hear they're promoting this game as the battle of the quarterback beards.
Really? Who's doing that exactly? The National Beard Foundation?
Well, it was World Beard Day, the first Saturday of every September.
I think you're the only one that's promoting it as the battle of the beards. Manning comes up short of the 15-yard line. That guy wants in on the beard conversation. Right now, he wants in on an accelerated offense for Houston.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aflac, official partner of the Heisman Trophy. Walmart. Save money, live better. And by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
194th consecutive home sellout for the Dallas Cowboys. That goes back, of course, to the old Texas Stadium. They've got a 17-7 lead over the Houston Texans with 9:37 to go in the fourth. Handed off to Foster, going up the middle. Foster takes it to the 25 for a first down. Let's go back to the touchdown. And the question, or should say on the non-face mask or not, we're going to bring in Mike Carey on this play, our rules expert. Did you agree with that call, Mike?
I agree with the call. Although it is a horse collar, if you grab inside the side of the collar, he grabbed the jersey and the shoulder pad, just as Dan said. Dan was right for the first time, and he was right the second time on the OPI also.
Also, that's 2 for 2 for Dan. Are you scoring analyst back in New York, Mike?
Only fouls because he never agrees with officials. And of course he's going to think there was no offensive pass interference as an old-time quarterback.
Yeah, really old time. I played when you were an official. That's how far I go back.
He was an official last year, Dan. Just to confirm the time frame. All right, good stuff, Mike. Thanks very much. 2nd and 5 now for Houston. 8.5 to go in the fourth. Fitzpatrick guns one to Johnson. Catch made and brings it to the 40-yard line. That's an 11-yard pickup.
Probably his best pass of the day. A fastball here. Look at his eyes get big. He knows he's got the great Andre Johnson inside against the corner. Coverage by Sterling Moore, but not enough to stop that bullet.
Moore seeing extended action. We told you about the Claiborne injury. He's on IR, so it's Moore, Carr, and Skandrick at that quarterback position. Certainly when they go to nickel as well. Foster angling outside for 3 yards. We're down to 7:55 to go in this fourth quarter. A fast-paced Sunday afternoon in Arlington. Dallas leading at 17-7.
One thing you haven't seen much out of the offense for the Texans is play-action passing, because Foster's running the ball extremely well. They haven't been able to really fake it to him and give Fitzpatrick a little extra time after the fake.
Foster has 121 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Once again, this Dallas D has been rock solid. Fitzpatrick spins out of trouble. Buying some time. Fitzpatrick lets it fly. Connects with Hopkins. Into Dallas territory and inside the 40. Sterling Moore back there. Fitzpatrick able to get away from Tyrone Crawford and turn it into an 18-yard gain.
Well, he does run a little play action here, fake to blue, and now he pulls a little Tony Romo with a reverse pivot, keeping his eyes down the field, and Hopkins is wide open at the 40.
Fitzpatrick is 5 of 5 in this half. He's 11 of 18 overall for 93 yards. Back to the ground game and Foster. No gain. Stonewalled by Selvey. And coming off is Selvey, 5-year veteran who's played with St. Louis, Carolina, and Jacksonville. Was a surprise last year when he had 7 sacks for Dallas. Jack Crawford, third-year defensive lineman from Penn State, steps in for him. 2nd and 10 for Houston. And approach 6 minutes to play in a 10-point game.
What do you say?
Shotgun Fitzpatrick. Tosses to the outside and Foster. Carr helping out as Wilcox slowed him down. And it's a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, with a 10-point deficit here, Houston's got to be thinking, and especially Fitzpatrick, hey, we need a field goal and a touchdown. So it's okay if we don't get a touchdown on this series. But he cannot take a sack here. He's got to pick up at least 5 yards to get his kicker into field goal range. It would be a 56-yarder from this point.
And the clock is rolling. 5.5 to play in the 4th. This is a 3rd and 9 for Houston.
What you got? What?
Fitzpatrick fires to the outside. Brought in by Martin. But he is short of the first down. It's a 6-yard gain for the Texans.
Here's a big decision here for Bill O'Brien. He's going to go for it on 4th down. They're 1 out of 2 in the early season converting 4th downs. You might want to think of this one over again and go for the field goal. The field goal would be a 51-yarder. But he's got his big guys in there, and Arian Foster in the backfield.
Huge play. 4th down for the Texans. 4:37 to play in the 4th. Fitzpatrick on 4th down. He's got Foster. First down for Houston. Arian Foster dropped inside the 20. Got some separation from the linebacker McClain and turns it into a 16-yard catch and run.
Well, really a well-designed play. You can see the man-to-man with Rolando McClain on Foster. That's just no contest for Arian Foster. Good tackle by McClain to keep him from going all the way to the end zone. But Fitzpatrick knew where he was going from the pre-snap alignment.
So new set of downs for the Texans. Alfred Blue checks in, replacing Foster. And it's a 4-yard pickup for Blue. Jeremy Mincy with a stop for Dallas. 3:50 and counting left in the 4th. Houston has all 3 timeouts remaining. They'll face a 2nd and 6.
They're using a lot of clock here. They'll get this play called and out of the huddle. I'm surprised they're not at the line of scrimmage calling plays as they have done so often.
Fitzpatrick, 88 of his 115 yards have come in the second half. Play clock down to 3. From the gun, Fitzpatrick. Scrambling. And takes a hit near the 10. He'll get a gain of a yard. Anthony Hitchens shifting over for Dallas. Foster will return. We will go under 3 minutes now.
And at some point, if they don't pick up the first down here, obviously they're going to have to kick the field goal. I doubt that they would go for it again on 4th down. That was a big gamble that was paid off by Foster beating McClain.
We're down to 2:40 remaining here in the 4th. Time-consuming drive for the Texans. Fitzpatrick hit as he throws, incomplete, and almost intercepted by Hitchens. Now the field goal unit will come on.
Real good pressure by the front four of the Cowboys. Mincy gets in there, and that was enough to nearly pants Ryan Fitzpatrick.
First incomplete pass of the second half for Fitzpatrick. Didn't have a great grip of it. And it's a 29-yard field goal attempt for Randy Bullock. He knocks it through to cut the Dallas lead to 7. We've got 2:27 remaining in the fourth. Week 5 continues later today on CBS and for some of you on Fox. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Houston will kick it off. Do you even think about an onside kick here when you have 3 timeouts remaining?
That's the key. The 3 timeouts. That was a long drive. Went a long way to the time off the clock, but they did save their 3 timeouts.
That drive took 7 minutes and 16 seconds. Dallas was prepared in case Houston thought about an onside kick. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line. Tony Romo and the Cowboys offense trying to ice this one against the Texans. Coming up tomorrow on NCIS, Los Angeles, LL Cool J and Chris O'Donnell star in a new episode you won't want to miss. NCIS, Los Angeles on its new night and time, tomorrow at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. Ryan Fitzpatrick just hoping for another opportunity. But right now it's on the Houston defense. Dallas has a 17-10 lead with 2:27 to go. Houston has all 3 timeouts remaining as the Cowboys take over a 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Double tight end set for Witten and Hannah. And a give to Murray. They'll pick up a half a yard on the play. Timeout called. 2:23 to play. We're in the 4th in a 7-point game. So the situation here at AT&T Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys 17, the Texans 10. Houston has 2 timeouts remaining. Dallas faces a 2nd and 9 from its own 21-yard line. Romo out of the gun.
Delay a game.
Delay of game.
Unbelievable.
Offense, 5-yard penalty remaining.
After a timeout. I mean, that is critical because the Texans will have 3 ways to stop the clock now on the 2nd and, 15?
And it also
14.
forces you into a passing situation if you're looking to get a 1st down, obviously, and that would stop the clock on an incomplete ball.
It would be wise to throw a screen or just a draw play to Murray at this point.
So 2nd and long now for Dallas after the delay of game. With the handoff, there's the wide receiver screen for Harris. And Dwayne Harris able to work his way upfield. Good block by Dez Bryant. And eventually brought down on the play by Merciless.
Yeah, let's go back and look at the Dez Bryant touchdown here. And watch the veteran quarterback, Tony Romo, see that this is a rookie out here. Andre Howell on Dez Bryant. That is a gimme. Kareem Jackson out of the lineup, and Howell claiming he was pushed off. Romo recognizing the personnel on the field, the single coverage on his best receiver. Easy score.
And now a 3rd and 6. This Houston defense, which has been excellent on the young season, number 7 in the NFL in points allowed, 16.8. That's basically what they've given up here against a high-powered offense, the Dallas Cowboys. Texans need a stop. Dallas 55% on 3rd down conversions. That's tied for 2nd in the NFL, and they're 6 out of 11 today. Critical. Beasley in motion on a 3rd and 6 for the Cowboys. Romo throws it off his back foot and nobody there. Getting rid of it. So Houston able to maintain 1 timeout. They still have the 2-minute warning. Pressure from Reed and Lewis on the play, and now Ryan Fitzpatrick getting ready to bring his offense onto the field and try to rally on the road.
Now, Kareem Jackson was in on that play. He had Beasley in the slot. Jonathan Joseph had the man-to-man coverage on Bryant on the outside. Perfect coverage, and now a penalty flag. Intentional grounding against Tony Romo. He was in the pocket when he threw that ball away, and there was no receiver anywhere near it. Loss of down and loss of yardage here.
A really poor sequence for this Dallas offense.
Well, they had a delay of game coming out of a timeout. Pressure by Kendrick Lewis, and Romo just bails out and draws the flag after a conference of the officials.
So Chris Jones will punt it out of his own end zone with 2:10 left on the clock. Romo on the day, 22 of 33, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Keyshawn Martin is waiting for it at the Houston 39. Martin in his 3rd year. 4th-round pick out of Michigan State. Jones with a punt. Martin moves forward, brings it in cleanly at the 41. Works his way to Dallas territory and angles out of bounds. We hit the 2-minute warning after the 45-yard punt, 14-yard return. The Texans have a short field to work with. They're down by 7 in the Battle of Texas. From Arlington. Coming up next, the NFL on CBS rolls on when the Chiefs face the 49ers or the Jets take on the Chargers. Check your local listings. Second half of our doubleheader, the NFL on CBS. 1:59 to play. The Cowboys had the ball for 29 seconds on that last drive, and now the Texans take over down by 7 with a 1st and 10 at the Cowboys 45. Fitzpatrick throw it underneath to Andre Johnson. Johnson has got some running room. Johnson sprints to the 25. Good block from Garrett Graham. Springs Johnson for 20 yards on the catch and run.
And he missed practice time with a bad left ankle. Nothing wrong with the ankle on this play. Good decision and good play selection by Bill O'Brien.
We're down to 1:36 to play. Houston does have 1 timeout remaining. 5 catches for Johnson. 58 yards. Out of the gun, Fitzpatrick. Texans down 7. Fitzpatrick. He's got Hopkins. Brought down just short of the 5 by Brandon Carr. Bang, bang. Houston down the field on 2 plays, and that one covers 19.
You know, we've been talking about the Dallas offensive line. Well, the Texans offensive line has protected Fitzpatrick well today. 0 sacks for the Cowboys on Fitzpatrick.
1st and goal from the 6. The handoff. Foster bangs his way inside the 1.
You know, that old thing about scoring too quickly, I think it's a bunch of hogwash. You just want to score. Tie this one up.
2nd and goal. Handed off. It's Foster slicing in. Touchdown, Texans.
I'd be surprised if Bill O'Brien goes for 2 here. You want to tie this one up. You've got the momentum right now. That was a 4-play, 45-yard drive. Fitzpatrick with a couple of strikes, and then Foster pays it off, going over the right side. But the Cowboys have just faded here in the last 2 minutes.
A namaste for Arian Foster. And frustration for Jason Garrett and the Cowboys. You could not have scripted that any better for Houston. What they did defensively against Dallas, the miscues by the Cowboys on offense, and then they back it up by moving right down the field to tie this game up after the Bullock extra point. Jerry Jones's team now finds itself in a tense situation, tied at 17 apiece with 41 seconds left.
41 seconds and 3 timeouts. You know, a lot depends on if you get a good kickoff return here, but there's plenty of time for Romo because of those 3 timeouts. And the fact, when you think about the personnel he has, the weapons he has in the passing game with Bryant and Williams and, of course, Witten down the middle, a lot of options for Romo. But right now, the momentum is in the dark blue.
It's a deep steel blue, Dan, if you're going to be specific with the colors.
It's not dark blue?
I believe deep steel.
Deep steel. Sounds like a World Wrestling Federation. No, that was in that movie, Zoolander.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where they got it? Deep steel blue.
Deep steel. It's the Zoolander look.
That's the look you give me a lot.
And you take it.
You the man.
41 seconds left in this fourth quarter, and Houston has rallied to tie this one up at 17 apiece. Randy Bullock will kick it off. Dwayne Harris waits for it. He's the deep man for the Cowboys. All tied up in Big D. Harris will take it out. Harris looking for blockers. And Harris comes up short of the 20-yard line. Justin Tuggle on special teams.
You start thinking about Dan Bailey's range. Career long this year, or career long is 53, as long this year, just 51. He has hit 30 in a row.
Now Romo has had a knack throughout his career. Dan Bailey has been so consistent and reliable for this Cowboys team. 30 straight field goals made by Bailey. That's the longest active streak in the league. Can they get him into range? 36 seconds left. Knotted up at 17 apiece. Shotgun for Romo. Romo throws it underneath. Murray with a catch and now will duck out of bounds. So they pick up 8 yards on first down.
Yeah, that's where returning that kickoff out of the end zone really hurts you, because you don't get the ball out to the 20 and you waste time off the clock. So give the offense that time back. Just take the ball at the 20. Don't return that kickoff.
2nd and 2 now for the Cowboys. Romo making a change. He's got time to work with on the play clock. It's down to 7. Trying to make sure Murray knows the play. Rush coming. Romo steps up. A little dart to Murray. Murray makes a beeline to the perimeter. And he's out of bounds across the 40-yard line. That's 16 yards for the Cowboys.
Yeah, another 20 yards or so, and they've got a shot at a real long field goal. 25 yards puts Bailey in his range.
23 seconds left.
Last 2 plays, the Texans have only rushed 4 players at Romo. He's had plenty of time.
Just across the 40-yard line, first down for Dallas. Working underneath again, and a drop ball by Bryant. Incomplete.
Well, they had something going there, too, if this ball is caught by Bryant. The Texans were rushing 5 that time. Bryant has blockers out in front, but that ball was thrown high, and that makes it difficult for Bryant not only to catch the ball, but get going after he comes back down to the earth.
Both teams 3-1, considered surprises in the early portion of the season. Houston has battled back. Dallas trying to get it done with a last-second finish. Romo avoids the pressure, throws, and there's room for Murray into Houston territory, and he's dropped at the 45. 12 seconds left on the clock, 15 yards on the pass play, and a timeout called by the Cowboys.
3 straight completions to DeMarco Murray, and the Cowboys are in business now. Still have 2 timeouts, so they can use the entire field. But the Texans more concerned with the wide receivers, Williams and Bryant, and the tight end Witten. 10 more yards for Romo and the Cowboys. That would make it a 53-yard field goal for Bailey, and that's his career long. But perfect kicking conditions inside this beautiful stadium.
12 seconds left. From the 45 of Houston. They could have time for 2 quick plays and a field goal try, depending upon play selection. Romo from the gun. Romo gets rid of it. He's got Des Bryant, and Bryant brought down inside the 40 by Joseph. 7 seconds left after the 8-yard gain, and a timeout called by the Cowboys.
They're just giving the Cowboys receivers, Bryant that time and DeMarco Murray before, just way too much room. Look how far off Jonathan Joseph is playing. Easy reception, and now Bryant, after the catch, picks up about 3 more yards.
Right now, they're looking at a 55-yard field goal attempt for Dan Bailey. There's 7 seconds left on the clock.
They have time to run one play on the ground to the middle of the field, pick up a couple yards, and get them just a little bit closer because they have that timeout to use. The important thing, though, for Murray is to realize that you only have 3 or 4 seconds. So once you get what you can get down. Don't try to get to the end zone.
7 seconds remaining. 2nd down for the Cowboys. Looking for some yardage before they bring Dan Bailey onto the field for a game-winning field goal attempt. It will be a running play. It's Murray up the gut. And a few seconds come off the clock. 3 seconds remain. Takes it to the 35, and now it will be Bailey with a chance to win it.
Be about a 53-yarder. And that's been the goal the whole time, is to get him within his range. You know, this natural rivalry, huge in Texas. It's too bad the NFL can't figure a way to make this a seasonal thing like they could do with so many of the natural rivalries in the NFL. I know they have their system.
Houston does have a timeout remaining. We'll see if Bill O'Brien chooses to ice Dan Bailey.
I think Dan's icing himself right now. He's about 20 yards behind everybody, just getting loose, concentrating, focusing, all those things. And I'm sure O'Brien, standing right next to the official, is going to call a timeout. There it is.
Timeout is called. So Bailey will have to think about it a little longer. That's the final timeout for the Texans.
Now, you always want to try to get into a kicker's head. I know Bailey's on a heck of a streak here, having hit 30 in a row. But he's definitely thinking about it. He knows it's a long kick. And remember, the guy that's going to be rushing right up the middle trying to block this kick is J.J. Watt. And Watt has already blocked an extra point this season. Long kick like this, you got to drive it. You can't get as much height under it as you might like. Distance important here.
Dallas looking to improve to 4-1 on the season. They will be at Seattle next, and then home for the Giants. The Texans will have a quick turnaround, hosting Indianapolis on Thursday night, a game we'll have for you here on CBS. So here we go. 53-yard attempt. LP Ladasar will snap it. Jones, the punter, will hold it. For the win, Dan Bailey from 53 yards, and it is offline. Overtime in Dallas.
He had plenty of leg, but the icing perhaps paid off for Houston.
Danny has made 30 in a row until that kick.
The odds were in the Texans' favor then. That's a remarkable run. This tested his distance. He had it, but he just pulled it a little bit left.
It was all set up for Jason Garrett and the Cowboys to walk out of here with a win. And instead, overtime.
Each team will have the opportunity for a possession unless the team receiving the snap as soon as the opening kickoff scores the touchdown. Each team will have two timeouts, and all replay will be done from the replay booth. This is tails. This is heads. What are you going to call?
Tails.
Tails. Move around. Tails is the call. Tails it is. You want to receive. Houston will receive it this end.
Houston wins the toss. They'll have the football when we come back. It's overtime in the Battle of the Lone Star State. Overtime rules, 1 15-minute quarter, a touchdown or a safety on the first possession wins the game, not a field goal. If the score is tied after each team's first possession, the next score will win the game. 2 timeouts per team, no coaches' challenges, only booth reviews from here on out. Houston has won the toss. They will receive to start overtime.
When you watch the body language of Dan Bailey, he comes out to kick this one off, and he was as upset as he possibly could be in missing that potential game winner.
In his 4th year in the NFL, he has been everything that Dallas could hope for. They signed him to a 7-year, $22.5 million deal. They got a chance to end it, could not at the end of regulation. So it's OT. Bailey bangs it through the back of the end zone. Dallas and Houston tied at 17 apiece. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, Jenny Dell, the rest of our NFL on CBS crew, producer Mark Wolf, director Bob Fishman. Sold out at AT&T Stadium. A 3-0 lead for the Cowboys at the end of the first half, and then we saw some offense. We saw some scoring in that third quarter. But Dallas still had a chance to seal the win if they could get a few first downs up by 7. They could not. It was a quick possession. Houston took over. They scored a quick touchdown. Handoff. Arian Foster. Foster brought down across the 40. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. Dwayne Brown and Ben Jones. It's that left side again. 151 yards for Foster.
And it's straight at the Cowboys. There's nothing tricky about this. It's not a wide play. It's one cut and go.
Just shy of the 45. Houston on the move. It's Foster. Up the middle. Brought down by Church. But now Foster is gashing this Dallas defense on the ground.
Well, they got back to what they've done so well in the past, and that's a zone running scheme. First play to the right side, a big gain. Second play to the left side, exactly the same play, just flipping it over, and they right to midfield in 2 plays.
And for Rod Marinelli's defense, which has been solid throughout the season, to give up that quick drive at the end of regulation towards the end for the touchdown, and now to start out overtime, Houston is having its way with the Dallas D. Alfred Blue is in. Blue works off tackle for 2. Selvey and Crawford combined to bring him down.
Just 4 of 12 converting third downs for the Texans today. They've been pretty good throughout the season at 41%. This will be an interesting play selection for Bill O'Brien if he doesn't make the first down.
Will Romo get a chance? Touchdown wins the game for Houston. It's a 3rd and 2. Foster sets up as a receiver. Working from the gun, Fitzpatrick. Looks, throws, sideline. Incomplete. The Dallas defense holds up.
And Justin Durant did a great job. Fitzpatrick hanging in there and gets drilled by Mincy. Good clean hit by Mincy. But Foster could not shake Durant on the wheel route to the outside.
A punt from Leckler. Waiting for it. Flag is thrown. It bounces in the air. Actually takes a Cowboys bounce. And it's touched at the 20-yard line. The penalty marker is down to the 16. 28-yard punt.
And you would anticipate this being against the Cowboys. Some type of illegal block. This will back them up inside the 10.
During the kick, holding. Number 37, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And it's C.J. Spillman called on the hold.
Spillman had a similar penalty to start the ball game in the first quarter on a punt return.
So, Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys offense with a chance to win.
And, at this stage of the game, when you're in overtime, you're tied, you can go back to your original game plan, the things you thought coming into the game were going to be successful. You combine that then with the adjustments you made at halftime, where all of a sudden you started moving the ball offensively. Just pick and choose now what you think's going to be successful.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys, just shy of the 10-yard line. Delayed handoff, it's Murray. 5-yard pickup for Murray to the 15. Pickett and Swearinger in on the stop.
And the thing that people got to remember is you've got all the time in the world here. You've got 12:40, 12:30 to go in the overtime. So there's no hurry. You can be patient and be sure of what the play call is.
3 receivers set, nickel package for Houston. From the gun, Romo to the outside after the catch. Des Bryant trying to curl around the defender. He actually had the first down, but because of that adjustment, they're going to mark him behind the marker.
Yep, well, he gave it up, trying to make a bigger play. The important thing is he doesn't show patience here. If he just catches the ball and sits down, he has the first down.
So instead, it's a 3rd and 1 for the Cowboys. We're under 12 minutes to play in overtime, tied at 17.
Jonathan Joseph comes out. Kareem Jackson replaces him.
Extra offensive lineman here for Dallas. Jeremy Parnell. Oh, he picked the right hole. Murray! So tough to bring down. You can't arm tackle him. He's 6 foot, 217 pounds, and he's a rock. 11 yards and a new set of downs for the Cowboys.
Yeah, great block there by Free. But how about Murray? A lot of running backs will get to the line of scrimmage, close their eyes, and anticipate a hit. Kept his eyes open, bounces off, and picks up a huge first down for the Cowboys.
134 yards on 28 carries for DeMarco Murray, the NFL's leading rusher. Shotgun here for Romo. Next score wins the game. Romo trying to put an end to it. And a slotting attempt by Witten. Incomplete.
Well, the pressure got to Romo that time. 5-man rush for the Texans, and that sped the clock up there for Tony Romo. He had Witten, but the pressure was getting to him. That forced the bad throw.
.417 yards of offense for Jason Garrett's team. You want to be a head coach in the NFL? There's going to be some emotions involved.
Yeah, it's in his bloodline, isn't it?
Dad, a longtime football coach, Jim Garrett. In fact, Jim Garrett was the coach of the Houston Texans in the WFL 1974. Jason's dad. Timeout called.
So this isn't the first Texan team you're saying then. We had the WFL,
yeah,
NFL, and AFL.
Yeah, they've gotten around, the Texans.
Well, it's a catchy name.
And then,
but using that timeout, they only have 2 to work with in overtime. That's huge, and that may be the reason we saw that expression on Jason Garrett's face.
Scott Linehan just gave some instructions to Tony Romo. We've got 10:49 to play in OT and a 2nd and 10 for the Cowboys. Two star running backs have done their respective jobs today. Arian Foster, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. Murray has gone for 134. Murray picks up a yard. J.J. Watt and Ryan Pickett there defensively for Houston.
The Cowboys have had good success converting 3rd downs today. 7 of 13. But this is a 3rd down and 9. And those are tough ones.
Scott Linehan calling the plays for this Cowboys offense. Next score wins. Cowboys facing a 3rd and long. Romo floats one up in the air. Juggle. Dez Bryant. Oh, spectacular grab by Bryant. One-on-one. Bryant wins the matchup.
Well, he caught it twice. The ball is going to go off his hands there, and as he's falling, he reaches over the top of Joseph Helmet to pull it in. What concentration. Joseph played it perfectly. He split the hands of Bryant, but couldn't keep Bryant from grabbing the ball right off the top of his hat.
And Dan, they are now in field goal range after that long completion to the Pro Bowler. Dez Bryant, concentration and physical skills. On a give, Murray. He's dropped. Bryant Cushing there. Line of scrimmage was just shy of the 30. That's 137 yards rushing for Murray. 30 carries.
You know, you go back to that play. It was a all-and-out blitz by the Texans. They brought the safety, Swearingen, and Cushing, and Romo saw it, and he knew he had man-to-man coverage on the outside with one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the game. He gave him a shot, and Bryant paid it off.
Right now, it would be a 48-yard field goal attempt for Bailey, who missed a 53-yarder at the end of regulation that could have ended it, and would have ended it for Dallas. Give it to Murray, stiff arm, nothing there, no gain. And they're going to send Bailey onto the field now.
Now, Houston does have 2 timeouts. So Bill O'Brien icing Bailey earlier. He may think about doing it one more time.
Depending on the spot here, it's 48 or 49 yards, and it's going to be a 49-yard attempt. For the win. Redemption for Bailey. Yes! He knocks it through. The Cowboys win in overtime. 20-17 over the Texans. Bragging rights belong to Dallas.
Perfect snap, the hold, right down the middle. What a job by the Cowboys bouncing back after Houston grabbed all the momentum. But to have the awareness and leadership of a quarterback like Tony Romo, knowing what his weapons are, getting a big play from a guy that makes big plays for you, Dez Bryant.
And it's Dan Bailey converting from 49 yards away for Bill O'Brien. Heartache. His team fought and battled at the end of regulation to tie the game up. Dallas had an opportunity to win it in regulation, but it's the Cowboys, a winner 20-17 in overtime.